Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, we are talking today about the air ambulance services. What is air ambulance services? Air ambulance services are the use of the aircraft, including both fixed wing aircraft and the helicopter, to provide various kind of the medical care, especially pre-hospital and emergency and critical care of patient during the air medical evacuation and the rescue operations. History, if we're talking about history, during World War, air transport was used to provide medical evacuations, either from frontline areas of the battlefield itself. In 1928, in Australia, John Fillion founded the Flying Doctor Services, led the Royal Flying Doctor Services to provide a wide range of medical services to civilians in remote areas. These included from routine consultations with traveling. These included general perspirations in the remote areas, with including from the routine consultation with the traveling general participation to air ambulance circulation and the other emergency medical services. Fixed wing military air ambulance comes into regular use during World War II. Helicopters become are more commonly used of such purpose during the Korean and the Vietnam wars. Later, helicopters were introduced to civilian healthcare, especially for the short distance in the around large cities, transportation paramedic to specialty doctors as needed, and transportation patient to hospitals, especially for the transportation paramedic of the specialist doctor. The major terms cases fixed wings aircraft remain in the use of long distance medical transports. Advantages: air medical services can travel faster and operate into a wide coverage area than a land ambulance. This makes them particularly useful in the sparsely populated rural areas. Air medical services have a particular advantage for the major trauma injuries. The controversial theory of the golden hours suggested that major trauma patients should be transferred as quickly as possible to the specialist trauma center. Therefore, medical response in the helicopter can provide both a large level of care and the sense of trauma and transfer transport to the trauma center. They can also provide critical care when the transported patient from the community hospital to the trauma center. Introductions for air transport: effective use of the helicopter services for the trauma depends on the ground response responders' ability to determine whatever the patient condition. Wharton's air medical transport protocols and the training must be developed to ensure appropriate triage criteria are applied. Exclusively stringent criteria can be prevent rapid care and the transport of the trauma victims. Relaxes criteria can result in the patient being unnecessarily exposed to the potential dangers of the dangers, but whether condition or the other related risks. Crew and patient safety in the single most important factors to be considered when deciding whether to the transport and the patient by helicopter. Whether air traffic patients and the distance, one trauma injuries and another reason for the cancelling and a flight is based on the comfort of the flight crew with the flight. The general rules of the safety is upon the crew when there is no pilot and the two medical crew is three to go, one to say no. If one flight member is not comfortable with the flight for whether reason, the flight is cancelled. Someone have a question the safety for the air medical services. While the number of crashes may be increasing, in the number of the program and use of services have also increased. Factors associated with the fatal crashes of the medical transport helicopter including flying and the night and during bad weather and the crashes fires. An air ambulance is especially outfitted helicopter or fixed wing aircraft that transport injured or sick people in the medical emergency or our distance to train impactorial. For the conventional ground ambulance, fixed wings aircraft are also more often used to move patient over long distance and the repatriating from foreign countries. These and related operations are called aeronautical. In some communications, and the same aircraft may be used to search for the missing or wanted people. Like ground ambulance, air ambulance, and the equipping with medical equipment vital to monitoring and the treating injuries or ill patients. Common equipment for air ambulance included medical validations, e.g., CCG, and monitoring with CPR and equipment and scratches. A medically staffed and equipment air ambulance provide medical care in flight, while a non-medically equipped and staffed aircraft simply transport patients without care in flight. Military organization and the NATO refer to the former and the medical equations and the latter as casualty evacuations. Air traffic control grants special treatment to air ambulance operations, much like a ground ambulance, using lights and siren only when there are actively operations while with a patient. When this happens, air ambulance lights and sirens only when they are active operation with the patient. When there happens, air ambulance aircraft take the call sign Medicaid, formerly lifeguard, and they receive priority handling in the air and on the ground. Further information on the book, what could possibly go wrong. History, military, as the many emergency medical services innovations treating patients in the flight organized in the military, the concept of the using aircraft as ambulance is almost as old as the provided flight itself. Although balloons are not used to evacuate wounded soldiers at the Salles in Paris in 1870, air evacuation was experimented with during the First World War. The first recorded British ambulance flight took place in the 1970 in the Ottoman Empire when a soldier in a camel corps who had been shot in the ankle was flown on hospital at DH9 in 45 minutes. First recorded aeronautical aviation in the British Army. The same journey by land who have taken same 3 days to complete in 1920 survival services. Both official and unofficial started up in the various parts of the world. Aircraft were still primitive at the time when limited capability and the offered received mixed reviews. Exploration of the idea continued, however, and France and the United Kingdom used fully organized air ambulance services during the African and medical Astrum colonial wars of the 1920s. In 1920, the British, while suspended the Mad Mullah and simulated use as the Air Code DH9A fitted out air ambulance. It carried a single stretcher under a fairing behind the pilot. The France evacuated over 700 casualties during the period. By 1936, organized military air ambulance services evacuated wounded of the Spanish Civil War for medical treatment in Nazi Germany. This service continued during in the Second World War. So guys, thank you for the watching video. We met in the next video. Love.